This book is not just about stopping overthinking. It's about taking back your life. Overthinking steals your time, your peace, and your confidence. It makes small problems look huge and keeps you stuck in your head instead of living your life. But here's the truth. Your mind is not your enemy. With the right tools, you can train it to work for you, not against you. In these chapters, you will discover simple steps to quiet your thoughts, build strong habits, trust your decisions, and finally find peace within yourself. No complex theories, no difficult words, just clear, powerful lessons you can use every day. If you've ever felt trapped by endless what-ifs and constant doubts, this book will guide you out of that prison. By the end, you won't just think less, you'll live more. Chapter 1: The Trap of Thoughts. Right now, as you listen to these words, your mind is probably already jumping ahead. Maybe you're thinking about what you'll do after this. Maybe you're wondering if this will actually work. Maybe you're already doubting yourself. Stop for a moment. Notice that. Notice how your mind never stops moving. It's like a monkey swinging from branch to branch, never staying in one place for long. This is what we call overthinking, and it's exhausting. Most people think that thinking more will solve their problems. They believe that if they just think hard enough, long enough, they'll find the perfect answer. But here's what really happens. The more you think about a problem, the bigger it becomes in your mind. Think about the last time you couldn't sleep because your mind was racing. What were you thinking about? Probably something that seemed huge and impossible to solve. But when morning came, when you were rested and calm, wasn't that problem smaller than it felt at night? That's the trap of overthinking. It makes small problems feel like mountains. Your thoughts are not facts. Let me say that again. Your thoughts are not facts. They are just electrical signals in your brain. They come and go like clouds in the sky. But somewhere along the way, you started believing that every thought was important. You started treating every worry like an emergency. Here's the truth that will set you free. Most of your thoughts are just noise. Random, meaningless noise. Your brain produces thousands of thoughts every day. Most of them you don't even notice. But the ones you do notice, the ones that stick around and repeat themselves, those are usually the ones causing you pain. Imagine your mind is like a radio that's not tuned properly. You hear static, broken pieces of songs, voices fading in and out. That's what overthinking feels like. You're trying to make sense of the noise, but there's nothing meaningful there. The solution isn't to listen harder. The solution is to change the station or turn down the volume. When you overthink, you're living in your head instead of in your life. You miss beautiful sunsets because you're worried about tomorrow. You miss conversations with people you love because you're replaying something that happened yesterday. You miss the present moment, which is the only moment that's actually real. Overthinking steals 3 things from you. First, it steals your time. Hours disappear while you circle around the same thoughts. Second, it steals your peace. That calm, quiet feeling inside gets buried under layers of worry and analysis. Third, it steals your energy. Mental energy is just as real as physical energy, and overthinking drains it completely. But you can get all of this back. You can reclaim your time, your peace, and your energy. You can learn to step out of the trap of thoughts and into the freedom of a quiet mind. The first step is understanding that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the sky, and thoughts are just clouds passing through. Some clouds are dark and stormy. Some are light and fluffy. But you are always the sky of vast, unchanging, peaceful. When you realize this, everything changes. You stop fighting your thoughts and start watching them instead. You stop being afraid of them and start being curious about them. You stop believing everything they tell you and start choosing which ones deserve your attention. This doesn't happen overnight. Your mind has been running the same patterns for years, maybe decades. But every time you catch yourself overthinking and gently redirect your attention, you're building a new habit. You're training your mind to work for you instead of against you. Some people worry that if they stop overthinking, they'll become lazy or careless. This is another trap. The opposite is true. When you stop wasting mental energy on useless thoughts, you have more energy for the thoughts that actually matter. When you stop analyzing every little thing, you can focus on what's truly important. Right now, make a decision. Decide that you will no longer be a prisoner of your own mind. Decide that your thoughts will serve you, not control you. This decision is the beginning of your freedom. Chapter 2. Silence the inner voice. Listen carefully. Can you hear it? That voice in your head that never stops talking. It's commenting on everything, judging everything, worrying about everything. It might be talking right now, maybe saying something like, "I wonder if this will really work," or "I tried things like this before." That voice is not you. It feels like you because you hear it so clearly, but it's just another sound in your awareness, like a bird singing outside your window or music playing in another room. The difference is you've been listening to this voice for so long that you think it's the most important thing in the world. This inner voice has opinions about everything. It tells you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's wrong with you, what's wrong with other people, what might go wrong tomorrow. It never takes a break. Even when you're trying to relax, it's still there, chattering away. But here's something amazing: you can learn to turn down the volume. You can learn to ignore this voice when it's not being helpful. You can even learn to make it quiet for periods of time. The key is understanding that you don't have to listen to everything it says. Think about it this way. If you had a friend who constantly criticized you, worried out loud about everything, and never had anything positive to say, would you spend all your time with that friend? Of course not. You'd probably limit your time with them or stop spending time with them altogether. So why do you spend all day listening to a voice that does exactly the same thing? The first step to silencing the inner voice is recognizing when it's talking. Most of the time, we're so used to it that we don't even notice it's there. It's like background music in a store. You don't pay attention to it until someone points it out. Start paying attention to your inner voice. What does it say most often? Does it worry about the future? Does it criticize your past decisions? Does it judge other people? Does it create problems that don't really exist? Just notice. Don't try to change anything yet. Just become aware of what this voice sounds like and what it likes to talk about. Once you start noticing the voice, you'll probably be surprised by how negative it is. Most inner voices are not very kind. They focus on problems, dangers, and everything that could go wrong. This is not because you're a negative person. It's because the human brain is designed to look for threats. This was helpful when we lived in caves and had to watch out for dangerous animals. But in today's world, this tendency creates more problems than it solves. Now let's learn some simple ways to quiet this voice. These techniques are like tools in a toolbox. Different tools work better for different people, and some situations call for different approaches. Try them all and see which ones work best for you. The first tool is breathing. This might sound too simple to work, but it's incredibly powerful. When your inner voice is loud and chaotic, your breathing becomes quick and shallow. When you slow down your breathing, you automatically calm your mind. Here's how to do it. Take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 counts. Hold it for 4 counts. Then breathe out through your mouth for 6 counts. The longer exhale is important because it signals to your nervous system that you're safe and can relax. Do this 5 times whenever you notice your inner voice getting loud. The second tool is walking. Movement changes your mental state immediately. When you walk, especially outside, your brain shifts focus from internal chatter to external awareness. You start noticing the world around you instead of the world inside your head. Don't walk with a destination in mind. Don't walk to solve problems or make decisions. Just walk to walk. Let your feet move and let your mind rest. If thoughts come up, that's fine. Just don't grab onto them. Let them pass by like cars on a highway. The third tool is writing down your thoughts. This might seem backwards. Why would you pay more attention to your thoughts if you want to quiet them? But here's what happens when you write down your worries and concerns. They stop spinning around in your head because they now have a place to live outside of your mind. Get a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Write down everything your inner voice is saying. Don't edit it or organize it. Just dump it all out. I'm worried about the meeting tomorrow. I think my boss doesn't like me. I should have handled that situation differently. What if I can't pay my bills next month? Whatever it is, write it down. Something magical happens when you do this. The thoughts that seemed so important and urgent suddenly look less scary on paper. Some of them might even seem silly. You realize that your inner voice was making a big drama out of ordinary situations. Another powerful tool is asking your inner voice a simple question. Is this thought helping me right now? Most of the time, the answer is no. The thought might be about something real, but thinking about it right now, in this moment, is not helping you. Once you realize this, it becomes easier to let the thought go. You can also try giving your inner voice a name. This sounds funny, but it works. Maybe call it the worrier or the judge or chatty Charlie. When you notice it talking, you can say, "Thanks, chatty Charlie, but I don't need your opinion right now." This creates distance between you and the voice. It reminds you that the voice is not you. Sometimes the inner voice gets loud because it's trying to solve a problem or make a decision. If this is the case, set aside specific time for thinking. Tell yourself, "I'll think about this problem for 10 minutes at 3 p.m., but not right now." Then, when 3 p.m. comes, if the problem still needs attention, give it your full focus for those 10 minutes. Most of the time, you'll find that the problem either solved itself or wasn't as important as your inner voice made it seem. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate all thoughts. Thoughts are tools, and like any tool, they're useful when you need them and problematic when you don't. You want to be able to think clearly when you're solving a problem or making a decision. But you also want to be able to turn off the thinking when it's time to relax, enjoy a moment, or simply be present. Learning to quiet your inner voice is like learning to drive a car. At first, it takes a lot of attention and effort. You have to think about every step. But with practice, it becomes automatic. You develop the ability to shift gears in your mind just like you shift gears in a car. Closing your new beginning. You now have the knowledge and tools to break free from overthinking. You understand that most thoughts are just noise. You know that you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of your thoughts. You have practical ways to quiet your inner voice when it gets too loud. But knowledge without action is just more noise in your head. The real change happens when you start using these tools every day. It happens when you catch yourself overthinking and gently redirect your attention. It happens when you choose peace over worry, presence over anxiety. This is your new beginning. Starting today, you can live with a quieter mind and a more peaceful heart. You can reclaim your time, your energy, and your joy. You can step out of the trap of thoughts and into the freedom of the present moment. The path is simple, but not always easy. Your old thinking habits will try to pull you back. That's normal. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Every time you notice you're overthinking, that's actually a success because awareness is the first step to change. You have everything you need to transform your relationship with your thoughts. Trust yourself. Trust the process. And remember, you are much more powerful than any thought that passes through your mind. Your journey to a quieter, more peaceful mind starts now. Take a deep breath, step forward, and embrace the calm that has been waiting for you all along. Chapter 3. Focus on the present. Welcome to Chapter 3, where we're going to talk about one of the most powerful skills you can ever learn. It's the skill of living in the present moment. Right now, as you listen to these words, you are exactly where you need to be. Think about this for a moment. The past is gone. It's finished. Done. You can't change what happened yesterday, last week, or 10 years ago. No amount of thinking about it will bring it back or make it different. The future? Well, it hasn't happened yet. It exists only in your imagination. The only moment that truly exists is this one. Right here, right now. This might sound simple, but it's actually revolutionary. Most people spend their entire lives living everywhere except the present moment. They're stuck replaying old movies in their heads or worrying about movies that haven't even been filmed yet. And while they're doing this, real life is passing them by. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who spent his whole day walking through a beautiful garden, but he never saw a single flower. Why? Because his mind was somewhere else. He was thinking about the argument he had with his wife that morning. He was worried about a meeting he had next week. He was replaying a mistake he made 5 years ago. He walked through paradise and saw nothing because he wasn't really there. This is what overthinking does to us. It steals our life from us, moment by moment. But here's the amazing news. You have the power to change this. You can train your brain to stay in the present moment. And when you do, everything changes. Living in the present isn't just about feeling better, though you will feel better. It's about becoming more effective, more creative, more alive. When your mind is here, in this moment, you can actually respond to what's happening instead of reacting to what you think might happen or what already happened. Think about the best athletes in the world. When they're performing at their peak, where is their mind? It's completely focused on the present moment. They're not thinking about the last shot they missed or the next play. They're completely absorbed in what's happening right now. This is why they call it being in the zone. You can learn to live in this zone too. Not just for sports, but for life. When you're truly present, problems become opportunities. Challenges become adventures. Fear becomes excitement. This isn't magic or wishful thinking. This is what happens when your mind is where your body is. So, how do you train your brain to stay in the present? The first step is to catch yourself when your mind wanders. And it will wander. That's what minds do. They're like puppies, they want to run around and explore. But just like training a puppy, you can gently guide your mind back to where you want it to be. Start with your breath. Your breath is always happening in the present moment. You can't breathe yesterday's air or tomorrow's air. You can only breathe right now. When you notice your mind has wandered off into the past or future, simply bring your attention back to your breathing. Feel the air going in and out of your lungs. This simple act brings you back to now. Another powerful technique is to engage your senses. What do you see right now? Really see, not just glance at. What do you hear? What can you feel against your skin? What do you smell? Your senses are always in the present moment. They're like anchors that keep you grounded in reality instead of floating off into your thoughts. Here's something important to understand. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just mental events, like clouds passing through the sky. You don't have to believe every thought that pops into your head. You don't have to follow every mental rabbit hole. You can observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Imagine you're sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. Some leaves are beautiful, some are ugly, some are big, some are small. But you don't jump into the river to chase after them. You just watch them pass. This is how you can relate to your thoughts. Let them come, acknowledge them, and let them go. The past loves to knock on your door. It will show up with regrets, guilt, and what if I had done things differently scenarios. When this happens, remind yourself, that was then, this is now. You learned what you needed to learn from that experience. Now it's time to be here. The future also loves to visit, usually bringing worry and anxiety as its companions. It will paint pictures of all the things that could go wrong. When this happens, ask yourself, what can I actually do about this right now? If there's something you can do, do it. If there's nothing you can do right now, then worrying about it is just wasting your precious present moment. Living in the present doesn't mean you ignore the future or pretend the past didn't happen. It means you deal with them from a place of presence and power instead of anxiety and regret. When you're truly present, you make better decisions about the future because you're thinking clearly. You learn better from the past because you're not emotionally tangled up in it. Here's a practice you can start today. Every hour, take a moment to ask yourself, where is my mind right now? If it's wandering, gently guide it back to the present. Notice 3 things you can see, 2 things you can hear, and 1 thing you can feel. This simple exercise will start training your brain to live where your life is actually happening. Remember, the present moment is where all your power lives. You can't change anything in the past, it's already happened. You can't control everything in the future, it hasn't happened yet. But right here, right now, you have all the power you need to create the life you want. Every breath is a new beginning. Every moment is a fresh start. Every second gives you another chance to choose where you want to put your attention. And when you choose to put it here, in the present moment, you're choosing freedom. You're choosing to actually live your life instead of just thinking about it. The present moment isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it contains difficult emotions or challenging situations. But here's the thing, it's real. In reality, even when it's uncomfortable, is always better than living in a fantasy world of regrets and worries. Because in reality, you can actually do something. In reality, you have power. So make this your commitment to live where you are when you are, to show up fully for your own life, to be present for the people you care about, to experience the richness and beauty that exists in every single moment, even the ordinary ones. The past is a story. The future is a dream. But your life is happening right now. Don't miss it. Chapter 4. Action beats worry. Now we're going to talk about something that can completely transform your relationship with worry and fear. It's a simple truth that most people never fully understand. Thinking never solves problems, action does. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever solved a problem by worrying about it? Have you ever fixed a relationship by lying awake at night replaying conversations in your head? Have you ever improved your financial situation by spending hours imagining worst-case scenarios? Of course not. Worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. Here's what worry really is. It's your brain trying to solve problems that either don't exist yet or can't be solved by thinking. Your brain means well. It's trying to protect you by thinking through every possible scenario. But here's the problem. Most of the things we worry about never happen. And the ones that do happen usually turn out much differently than we imagined. Studies show that 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. And of the 15% that does happen, 79% of people find they can handle it better than they expected. Think about that. We spend enormous amounts of mental energy worrying about things that probably won't happen, and even if they do, we're usually stronger than we think we are. But here's the really important part. While you're busy worrying, you're not taking action. And action is the only thing that actually changes your situation. Every moment you spend in worry is a moment you're not spending in solution mode. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was worried about her job. The company was going through changes, and she was afraid she might get laid off. She spent weeks lying awake at night, imagining all the terrible things that could happen. She pictured herself unemployed, unable to pay her bills, losing her house. She played these scenarios over and over in her mind until she was exhausted and depressed. Then one day, Sarah's friend asked her a simple question. What are you actually doing about this? Sarah realized the answer was nothing. She was spending all her energy worrying, but none of it taking action. So she started to act. She updated her resume. She started networking. She began learning new skills online. She even started applying for other jobs just in case. Guess what happened? Within a month, Sarah had 2 job offers. One was even better than her current job. The situation she had been worrying about for weeks was completely transformed in a matter of days, not through worry, but through action. This is the power of action over worry. When you act, you move from being a victim of circumstances to being the creator of your circumstances. You stop waiting for life to happen to you and start making life happen for you. But here's what stops most people from taking action. They think the action has to be big and perfect. They believe they need to have the whole solution figured out before they can take the first step. This is a trap. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Small actions are incredibly powerful. They build momentum. They give you information. They boost your confidence. And they often lead to bigger actions. Every journey begins with a single step, and every solution begins with a single action. Think about any problem in your life right now. What's one small thing you could do about it today? Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. It doesn't have to solve the whole problem. It just has to move you one tiny step forward. Let's say you're worried about your health. Instead of lying in bed thinking about all the ways your health could decline, what's one small action you could take? You could drink an extra glass of water. You could take a 10-minute walk. You could schedule a doctor's appointment. Any of these actions is better than worry because it actually moves you toward better health. Or maybe you're worried about a relationship. Instead of analyzing every conversation and wondering what the other person is thinking, what could you do? You could send a kind text. You could plan something fun to do together. You could have an honest conversation about your feelings. Again, any of these actions is more productive than worry. Here's a powerful principle. When worry shows up, transform it into a question. Instead of what if this goes wrong, ask what can I do about this? Instead of what if they don't like me, ask how can I be the best version of myself? Instead of what if I fail, ask what's one small step I can take towards success? This simple shift from worry to action changes everything. Worry makes you feel helpless and out of control. Action makes you feel empowered and in control. Even if the action doesn't solve the problem immediately, it changes how you feel about the problem. You go from being a passenger to being the driver. Now let's talk about fear, because fear is often what stops us from taking action. Fear whispers things like, what if it doesn't work? Or what if people judge you? Or what if you make things worse? Here's the truth about fear. It's usually not about what might happen. It's about what you think you can't handle. But you're stronger than you think. You've handled difficult things before. You've survived 100% of your worst days so far. You have more resilience, creativity, and strength than you give yourself credit for. Fear wants you to forget this, but action reminds you of your own power. Every time you take action despite fear, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your fear. Every time you act instead of worry, you build your confidence muscle. Every time you choose solution over problem, you become more capable of handling whatever life throws at you. Let's talk about failure, because fear of failure stops many people from taking action. Here's what you need to know about failure. It's not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every successful person has failed many times. The difference is they used failure as information, not as a reason to give up. When you take action and it doesn't work out perfectly, you haven't failed, you've learned something valuable. You've gathered information that will help you succeed next time. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He found 1,000 ways that didn't work, and each one brought him closer to the one way that did work. This is why action beats worry. When you worry, you create imaginary problems. When you act, you create real solutions. When you worry, you rehearse failure. When you act, you practice success. When you worry, you drain your energy. When you act, you build your energy. Here's a technique that will change your life, the 2-minute rule. If there's something you can do in 2 minutes or less, do it right now. Don't think about it, don't plan it, don't worry about whether it's perfect. Just do it. Answer that email. Make that phone call. Clean that drawer. Take that small step. You'll be amazed at how much forward momentum you can create with 2-minute actions. They add up. They build on each other. And they train your brain to choose action over worry as your default response to problems. For bigger actions that take more than 2 minutes, break them down into smaller pieces. Want to write a book? Start by writing 1 paragraph. Want to get in shape? Start by doing 5 push-ups. Want to improve your relationship? Start by giving 1 genuine compliment. Big changes come from small, consistent actions. Remember, you don't have to feel ready to take action. You don't have to feel confident or motivated or inspired. These feelings often come after action, not before. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of fear. Think of action as your superpower. It's always available to you. No matter how stuck you feel, no matter how overwhelming the problem seems, you always have the power to take 1 small step forward. And that 1 step can change everything. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose action over worry, you're voting for a stronger, more confident, more capable version of yourself. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you have the power to change your life. So here's your challenge. The next time worry shows up, don't feed it with more thinking. Instead, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do about this right now? Then do that thing. Take that action. Make that step. Choose solution over problem, action over worry, power over helplessness. Your life is waiting for you to stop thinking about it and start living it. The path forward isn't found in your thoughts, it's created by your actions. So act, move, do something. Because on the other side of action is the life you've been dreaming about while you were busy worrying. The world needs what you have to offer, but it can only receive it when you stop overthinking and start taking action. Your future self is counting on the actions you take today. Don't let them down. Take that first step. The rest will follow. Remember, thinking never solves problems, action does. So stop thinking and start doing. Your breakthrough is just 1 action away. Chapter 5, Let Go of Control. The weight of trying to control everything. Life feels heavy when we try to carry the weight of the whole world on our shoulders. Every day, we wake up with a mental list of things we want to go our way. We want the weather to be perfect for our plans. We want people to act the way we think they should. We want our jobs to run smoothly without any problems. We want our relationships to be easy and conflict-free. But here's the truth that can set you free. Most of what happens in life is completely out of your hands. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually the key to finding real peace. Think about your day yesterday. How much of what happened was actually under your control? the traffic on your way to work, the mood your boss was in, whether your phone battery died at the wrong moment. The answer might surprise you. Very little of what affects our daily lives is something we can actually control. Yet we spend so much mental energy trying to control these things anyway. We worry about them. We make backup plans for our backup plans. We lose sleep thinking about all the ways things could go wrong. This is where overthinking begins, in our desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable. Understanding what you can and cannot control. Let's get clear about what's really in your power and what isn't. This understanding will change everything about how you approach your daily life. You cannot control other people. You can't make your partner be more romantic. You can't force your children to make the choices you want them to make. You can't change your coworkers' personalities or make them work the way you think they should. You can't control what your friends think about you or how they react to your decisions. You cannot control circumstances. You can't stop traffic jams from happening. You can't prevent your flight from being delayed. You can't control the weather, natural disasters, or economic changes. You can't make time move faster when you're waiting or slower when you're having fun. You cannot control the past or the future. What happened yesterday is done. No amount of worrying or regret will change it. Tomorrow hasn't arrived yet, and no amount of planning can guarantee how it will unfold. So what can you control? Your response to everything that happens. Your attitude. Your effort. Your choices in each moment. Your words. Your actions. Your focus. Your breathing. How you treat others. How you treat yourself. This might seem like a small list compared to all the things you can't control, but these things you can control are actually the most powerful tools you have. They're the foundation of a peaceful, meaningful life. Why we try to control everything. Understanding why we do this can help us let go more easily. We try to control everything because we're afraid. We're afraid of being hurt, disappointed, or embarrassed. We're afraid of making mistakes or looking foolish. We're afraid that if we don't stay on top of everything, our lives will fall apart. We also try to control things because we care deeply about the outcomes. You worry about your child's grades because you want them to succeed. You stress about your presentation at work because you want to do well. You try to control your relationship because you love your partner and want things to work out. This caring isn't wrong. But when caring turns into controlling, it becomes a problem. When we care so much that we try to force outcomes, we end up creating more stress and less happiness for everyone involved, including ourselves. Another reason we try to control everything is that we think it will make us feel safe. If we can just manage every detail, we believe nothing bad will happen. But this is an illusion. The more we try to control, the more anxious we become because we're fighting against the natural flow of life. The cost of trying to control everything. When you try to control what you cannot control, you pay a high price. First, you create enormous stress for yourself. Your mind is constantly racing, trying to think of every possible scenario and how to handle it. You're always preparing for problems that might never happen. This kind of thinking is exhausting. It drains your energy and takes away your ability to enjoy the present moment. Instead of appreciating what's good right now, you're focused on what might go wrong later. Trying to control everything also damages your relationships. When you try to control other people, they feel suffocated and resentful. They pull away from you because they don't feel free to be themselves around you. Your attempts to help them or guide them feel like pressure and criticism to them. Your attempts at control also rob you of opportunities to grow. When you try to avoid all risks and control all outcomes, you miss out on new experiences that can enrich your life. You stay in your comfort zone, which means you never discover what you're truly capable of. Perhaps most importantly, trying to control everything keeps you from experiencing real peace. Peace doesn't come from having everything go your way. Peace comes from being okay with things as they are, even when they're not perfect. Learning to let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It means focusing your energy where it can actually make a difference. It means working hard on the things you can influence while releasing your grip on the things you can't. Start small. Pick one thing you've been trying to control that you know is out of your hands. Maybe it's your teenager's choice of friends, or your spouse's eating habits, or whether you get promoted at work. For just one day, practice not trying to control this thing. Notice what happens. Do you feel lighter? Does anything terrible happen because you let go? When you catch yourself trying to control something you can't control, ask yourself 3 questions. Is this something I can actually change? Is worrying about this helping me or hurting me? What would I do with my mental energy if I wasn't spending it on this? These questions will help you redirect your attention to more productive places. Instead of worrying about whether it will rain on your outdoor event, focus on having backup plans that you feel good about. Instead of trying to make your boss appreciate you more, focus on doing your best work regardless of recognition. Finding peace in what you can control. There's incredible freedom in focusing only on what you can control. Suddenly, your to-do list becomes much more manageable. Your stress level drops dramatically. You have more energy for the things that actually matter. When you focus on what you can control, you become more effective, not less. You put your energy into actions that can actually create change instead of wasting it on worry and frustration. You become someone who gets things done instead of someone who just thinks about getting things done. Start with your daily responses. You can't control if someone cuts you off in traffic, but you can control whether you let it ruin your mood. You can't control if your flight gets delayed, but you can control how you use the extra time. You can't control if someone is rude to you, but you can't control whether you respond with kindness or rudeness. You can control your morning routine. You can decide what time you wake up, what you eat for breakfast, whether you exercise, and how you prepare for your day. These choices set the tone for everything that follows. You can control how much effort you put into your work, your relationships, and your personal growth. You can control whether you learn new things, whether you practice gratitude, whether you help others, and whether you take care of your health. The power of acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you like everything that happens or that you don't work to improve your situation. Acceptance means you acknowledge reality as it is right now, without fighting against it or pretending it's different. When you accept what is, you stop wasting energy on resistance and denial. You can see situations more clearly and respond more wisely. You make better decisions because you're working with facts instead of fighting against them. Acceptance also brings immediate relief. Think about a time when you finally stopped fighting against something you couldn't change. Maybe you accepted that your job wasn't going to change, so you started looking for a new one. Maybe you accepted that your relationship was over, so you began to heal. That moment of acceptance probably felt like a weight lifting off your shoulders. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop trying to improve things. It means you accept the starting point so you can move forward effectively. You can't get to where you want to go if you won't acknowledge where you are right now. Practicing daily surrender. Surrender is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. Every morning, you can choose to focus on what you can control today. Every evening, you can let go of what didn't go according to plan. Create a simple letting go ritual. At the end of each day, think about what you tried to control that was actually out of your hands. Mentally release these things. You can even imagine putting them in a box and setting the box aside. This helps train your mind to distinguish between what's yours to handle and what isn't. When you feel yourself starting to worry about something, pause and ask, is this mine to control? If the answer is no, take a deep breath and redirect your attention to something you can influence. Remember that letting go is a skill that improves with practice. Don't expect to master it overnight. Be patient with yourself as you learn this new way of thinking. Every time you catch yourself trying to control the uncontrollable and choose to let go instead, you're building this important skill. The ripple effect of letting go. When you let go of control, everyone around you benefits. Your family feels more relaxed because you're not constantly trying to manage their choices. Your friends enjoy your company more because you're present instead of worried about outcomes. Your coworkers appreciate working with someone who focuses on solutions instead of problems they can't solve. Your own peace becomes contagious. When others see how calm and centered you are, even in difficult situations, they learn from your example. You become a source of strength and stability for the people in your life, not because you have everything figured out, but because you've learned to work with life instead of against it. You also become more creative and adaptable. When you're not locked into trying to force specific outcomes, you can see new possibilities and opportunities. You become better at rolling with unexpected changes and finding the gifts hidden in challenging situations. Building your new relationship with control. Think of control like a tool, useful for some jobs, completely wrong for others. You wouldn't use a hammer to fix a computer or a screwdriver to paint a wall. Similarly, the desire to control is helpful when applied to your own actions and choices, but harmful when applied to other people and external circumstances. Your job is not to control your life completely. Your job is to show up fully for your life and respond to whatever happens with wisdom, kindness, and strength. This is actually much more empowering than trying to control everything, because it puts the focus on developing yourself rather than trying to change the world around you. Start thinking of yourself as a skilled surfer instead of someone trying to control the ocean. Surfers don't control the waves. They learn to read them and ride them skillfully. They stay flexible, balanced, and responsive. They work with the ocean's power instead of fighting against it. When letting go feels scary, it's normal to feel scared when you first start letting go of control. Our minds tell us that if we're not constantly managing everything, disaster will strike. But this fear is almost always worse than the reality. Start by letting go of small things and notice that life goes on just fine. The world doesn't fall apart when you stop trying to control every detail. In fact, it often works out better than if you had tried to micromanage everything. Remember that you're not abandoning your responsibilities when you let go of control. You're simply focusing your energy more effectively. You're still going to work hard, care for your family, and pursue your goals. Just going to do these things without the extra burden of trying to control outcomes. Trust that you're stronger and more adaptable than you think you are. You can handle whatever comes your way, even if it's not what you planned. You've survived challenges before, and you'll survive future ones too. This trust in your own resilience makes it easier to let go of the illusion of control, creating space for life to flow. When you stop trying to control everything, you create space for life to surprise you in beautiful ways. Opportunities appear that you never could have planned for. Relationships develop in unexpected directions. Solutions to problems emerge that you never would have thought of. This doesn't mean you become passive or stop setting goals. It means you hold your goals lightly. You work toward what you want while staying open to different paths and outcomes. You put in your best effort and then trust the process. Think of it like planting a garden. You can control what seeds you plant, how much you water them, and how well you tend to soil. But you can't control the weather, the exact rate of growth, or every detail of how the plants develop. The most successful gardeners learn to work with natural processes instead of fighting against them. Your new daily practice. Starting today, you can begin practicing this new relationship with control. Each morning, ask yourself, what can I actually influence today? Focus your mental energy there. When you catch your mind wandering to things you can't control, gently bring it back to your sphere of influence. Practice the phrase, that's not mine to control, when you notice yourself trying to manage things that are out of your hands. This simple reminder can save you hours of mental energy every day. At the end of each day, celebrate what you accomplished within your sphere of control, regardless of the outcomes. Did you treat people kindly? Did you work hard? Did you make healthy choices? These are victories, even if everything didn't go according to plan. Finding freedom and surrender. True freedom doesn't come from controlling your environment. True freedom comes from not needing to control your environment. When you can be okay regardless of external circumstances, you have a kind of power that no one can take away from you. This freedom allows you to take more risks, love more deeply, and live more fully. You're not walking through life afraid that everything will fall apart if you're not constantly managing it. You trust in your ability to handle whatever comes, which means you can relax and enjoy the journey. This is where real peace begins, not in having everything go your way, but in being okay when it doesn't. Not in avoiding all problems, but in trusting yourself to handle problems when they arise. Not in controlling life, but in dancing with it. The path to peace is surprisingly simple. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't, and trust yourself to handle whatever happens along the way. This is how you stop overthinking and start truly living. Your life is waiting for you to stop trying to control it and start enjoying it. Today is the perfect day to begin. Chapter 6. Build strong habits. Your mind follows your daily actions. Every single day, you make choices. Some choices feel big and important. Others feel small and simple. But here's what most people don't know. Those small, simple choices are the ones that change everything. Your brain is like a garden. Every day, you water certain plants. The thoughts you think most often, those are the plants you water. The habits you do every day, those decide which thoughts grow stronger. Right now, overthinking might feel like a big, scary monster. But overthinking is just a habit. And habits can be changed. You can build new habits that make your mind calm and peaceful. Why habits have so much power? Think about brushing your teeth. You don't sit there thinking, should I brush my teeth? What if I do it wrong? What if the toothpaste isn't good enough? You just do it. It's automatic. This is the magic of habits. When something becomes a habit, your brain doesn't waste energy thinking about it. Your brain saves that energy for other things. Bad habits work the same way. If overthinking has become your habit, your brain does it without asking. But you can train your brain to do helpful things automatically instead. The best part? You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to change everything at once. You just need to start building one good habit at a time. The foundation, sleep that heals your mind. Your sleep is where everything begins. When you sleep well, your mind feels clear and strong. When you sleep badly, everything feels harder. Many people who overthink have trouble sleeping. They lie in bed, and their mind starts racing. All the worries come flooding in. This creates a terrible cycle. Bad sleep makes more overthinking, and overthinking makes worse sleep. But you can break this cycle. Here's how to build a sleep habit that calms your mind. Start with your evening routine. 2 hours before bed, begin winding down. Turn off bright lights. Put away your phone and computer. These screens wake up your brain when it should be getting sleepy. Instead, do quiet activities. Read a book. Take a warm bath. Write in a journal. Listen to calm music. Your brain will learn that these activities mean time to rest. Make your bedroom a place for peace. Keep it cool, dark, and quiet. Your bed should be comfortable. Remove things that make you think about work or problems. Go to bed at the same time every night. Yes, even on weekends. Your brain loves routine. When you sleep and wake up at the same times, your brain knows what to expect. If your mind starts racing when you hit the pillow, don't fight it. Instead, try this. Focus on your breathing. Count each breath from 1 to 10, then start over. This gives your busy mind something simple to do. Remember, building a good sleep habit takes time. Don't expect perfect sleep on the first night. Be patient with yourself. Every night of good sleep habits makes the next night easier. Moving your body to calm your mind. Your body and mind are connected in amazing ways. When your body feels good, your mind feels good too. This is why exercise is such a powerful tool against overthinking. You might think, I don't have time for exercise, or I'm not good at sports. But here's the truth, you don't need to be an athlete. You don't need fancy equipment. You just need to move your body regularly. Exercise changes your brain in beautiful ways. When you move, your brain makes chemicals that help you feel happy and calm. Exercise also helps you sleep better, which we already know helps with overthinking. The key is finding movement you enjoy. Maybe you like walking in nature. Maybe you enjoy dancing to music in your room. Maybe you want to try yoga or stretching. The best exercise is the one you'll actually do. Start small. Very small. If you haven't exercised in a while, start with just 5 minutes a day. Take a short walk around a block. Do some gentle stretches. Dance to 2 songs. Your overthinking brain might say, 5 minutes isn't enough. This won't work. Don't listen to that voice. 5 minutes is perfect for building a habit. Once 5 minutes feels easy and natural, you can add more time. Make it the same time every day. Maybe you walk right after breakfast. Maybe you stretch before dinner. When exercise happens at the same time, it becomes automatic. Pay attention to how you feel after moving your body. Notice that your mind feels clearer. Notice that worries seem smaller. This isn't imagination. This is your brain getting the benefits of movement. Don't make exercise another thing to overthink. You don't need the perfect workout plan. You don't need to research the best exercises. Just start moving your body, and let that be enough. Writing your way to clarity. Writing might seem like a simple thing, You put words on paper. But writing has incredible power to calm an overthinking mind. When thoughts spin around in your head, they feel big and scary. But when you write those thoughts down, something magical happens. They become smaller and clearer. You can see them for what they really are. Journaling is like having a conversation with your wisest friend, except that friend is you. When you write, you tap into a deeper part of yourself. This part knows things your worried mind doesn't know. You don't need to be a good writer to get these benefits. You don't need perfect grammar or beautiful sentences. You just need to be honest on the page. Here's a simple way to start. Every morning, write 3 pages by hand. Don't think about what to write. Just let whatever comes out come out. Write about your dreams, your worries, your plans for the day. Write about nothing at all. This is called morning pages, and many people find it life-changing. These pages clear out all the mental clutter so your day can start fresh. You can also try evening journaling. Before bed, write about your day. What went well? What was challenging? What are you grateful for? This helps your mind process the day, so it doesn't keep processing while you're trying to sleep. Another powerful technique is worry journaling. When you catch yourself overthinking about something, grab a pen and paper. Write down exactly what you're worried about. Then write down what you can actually control about this situation. Often, you'll discover that you're worried about things completely outside your control. When you see this on paper, it becomes easier to let those worries go. Don't judge what you write. Don't try to make it positive or perfect. The power of journaling comes from honesty, not perfection. Creating routines that support your mind. Routines might sound boring, but they're actually freedom in disguise. When you have good routines, you don't waste mental energy on small decisions. This leaves more energy for the things that really matter. Your morning routine sets the tone for your whole day. If your morning is rushed and chaotic, your mind feels scattered all day. But if your morning is calm and intentional, your mind starts the day feeling strong. Design a morning routine that makes you feel good. Maybe you wake up and immediately make your bed. This small action gives you a sense of accomplishment before the day even begins. Maybe you spend 5 minutes stretching or doing deep breathing. Maybe you drink a glass of water and eat a healthy breakfast without looking at your phone. The key is making your routine simple and realistic. Don't try to cram 20 activities into your morning. Pick 3 or 4 things that make you feel calm and energized. Your evening routine is just as important. This routine tells your brain that the day is ending and it's time to rest. Maybe you clean up your space, prepare clothes for tomorrow, and read for 15 minutes. Maybe you spend a few minutes thinking about what went well that day. This trains your brain to notice good things instead of only focusing on problems. Weekend routines matter too. It's tempting to throw all routines out the window on Saturday and Sunday. But having some structure, even on weekends, keeps your mind feeling stable. This doesn't mean your weekends have to be boring. It just means having a few anchor activities that ground you. Maybe you always make a special breakfast on Sunday morning. Maybe Saturday evening is always when you plan the next week. Remember, routines should serve you, not stress you out. If a routine isn't working, change it. The goal is to create structure that supports your mental health. The power of deep breathing. Your breath is always with you. It's free, it's simple, and it has amazing power to calm your mind. Yet most people who overthink have forgotten how to breathe properly. When you're anxious or worried, your breathing becomes shallow and fast. This sends a signal to your brain that there's danger. Your brain responds by thinking more frantically, trying to solve the problem. But when you breathe slowly and deeply, you send a different signal. You tell your brain that everything is okay. This breaks the cycle of overthinking. The beautiful thing about breathing exercises is that you can do them anywhere. In a meeting, on a bus, lying in bed, your breath is always available to help you. Here's the simplest breathing technique. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 6 counts. The longer exhale is what triggers the relaxation response in your body. Another powerful technique is belly breathing. Put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. When you breathe in, only the hand on your belly should move. This ensures you're breathing deeply, not just with the top of your lungs. Try to practice breathing exercises when you're not stressed. This trains your body to remember how to breathe calmly. Then when you really need it, the skill will be there. Make breathing practice a daily habit. Maybe you do 5 minutes of deep breathing right after you wake up. Maybe you do it before every meal. Find a time that works and stick with it. Don't underestimate this simple practice. Professional athletes use breathing techniques. Military personnel use them. Doctors and nurses use them during stressful situations. Your breath is one of the most powerful tools you have. Small changes, big results. You might be feeling excited about all these ideas. That's wonderful. But here's the most important thing. Don't try to do everything at once. Your overthinking brain might say, I need to fix everything right now. I should start exercising every day, sleeping perfectly, journaling for hours, and doing breathing exercises constantly. This is just overthinking in disguise. When you try to change everything at once, you usually end up changing nothing at all. Instead, pick one habit. Just one. Maybe it's going to bed 15 minutes earlier. Maybe it's writing 1 page in a journal every morning. Maybe it's taking a 5-minute walk after lunch. Focus on that one habit for at least 2 weeks. Don't worry about being perfect. Just try to do it most days. Notice how it makes you feel. Celebrate the small wins. Once that habit feels natural, you can add another one. This might seem slow, but it's actually the fastest way to create lasting change. Remember why you're building these habits. You're not trying to become perfect. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're giving yourself the gift of a calmer, clearer mind. Your habits are your vote for who you want to be. Every time you choose a good habit over an old pattern, you're voting. You're voting for the person you want to become. When you choose to go to bed on time instead of scrolling on your phone, you vote for someone who takes care of themselves. When you choose to write in your journal instead of worrying in your head, you vote for someone who processes emotions in healthy ways. When you choose to take a walk instead of sitting with your anxious thoughts, you vote for someone who moves through challenges actively. These votes add up. Day by day, choice by choice, you become the person you're voting for. The person you're becoming is someone with a calm mind. Someone who doesn't get lost in endless loops of worry. Someone who faces life's challenges with clarity and strength. This person was always inside you. The habits are just helping that person come forward. Building your personal habit plan. Now it's time to get specific. Think about your current daily routine. What does a typical day look like for you? Are there times when overthinking hits you hardest? Maybe it's first thing in the morning when you wake up worried. Maybe it's at night when you're trying to sleep. Maybe it's during your lunch break when your mind wanders. These are the perfect times to insert new habits. Instead of letting overthinking fill those moments, you can fill them with practices that strengthen your mind. Choose your first habit based on what you need most. If you're exhausted all the time, focus on sleep habits. If you feel physically tense and restless, start with movement. If your thoughts feel jumbled and confusing, begin with journaling. Make your habit so small that it feels almost silly not to do it. Want to start exercising? Commit to putting on your workout clothes. Want to start journaling? Commit to writing 1 sentence. Want to improve your sleep? Commit to putting your phone in another room 30 minutes before bed. These tiny habits might seem insignificant, but they're not. They're building the neural pathways for bigger changes. They're proving to yourself that you can keep commitments to yourself. Track your habit in a simple way. Put a calendar on your wall and mark an X for each day you do your habit. This visual reminder keeps you motivated and shows you your progress. Don't break the chain of X marks, but if you do break it, don't give up. Missing one day doesn't ruin everything. Just start again the next day. The ripple effect of good habits. Here's something amazing about habits. They don't just change the specific area you're working on. They create ripple effects that improve your whole life. When you start sleeping better, you have more energy for everything else. When you start moving your body, you feel more confident in all areas. When you start journaling, you make better decisions because your thinking is clearer. Good habits also make you feel proud of yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, you build self-trust. This self-trust is like a muscle that gets stronger with use. As your self-trust grows, you start believing that you can handle whatever life brings. This belief naturally reduces overthinking because you're not constantly worried about whether you can cope. You might also notice that other people respond to you differently. When you're calmer and more centered, people enjoy being around you more. This creates positive relationships, which further support your mental health. The changes might be subtle at first. You might not even notice them day by day. But if you look back after a month or two of consistent habits, you'll be amazed at how different you feel. Overcoming common obstacles. Let's be honest, building new habits isn't always easy. Your overthinking mind will try to sabotage you. It will come up with very convincing reasons why you should skip your habit today. I'm too busy today. This habit isn't working fast enough. I missed yesterday, so what's the point? Other people don't have to work this hard. Expect these thoughts. They're normal. Everyone who has ever built a good habit has faced these same thoughts. The difference between people who succeed and people who give up is not that successful people don't have these thoughts. The difference is that they do their habit anyway. When your brain offers you an excuse, thank it for the input, then do your habit anyway. You don't have to feel motivated to do your habit. You just have to do it. Some days will be harder than others. On hard days, do the smallest possible version of your habit. If you usually write for 10 minutes, write for 2 minutes. If you usually walk for 20 minutes, walk for 5. The goal is to maintain the pattern, not to be perfect. Consistency matters more than intensity. If you keep struggling with a habit, it might be too big. Make it smaller. If you're trying to exercise for 30 minutes and you keep skipping it, try 10 minutes instead. Remember, you're not in a race. There's no deadline for becoming a person with good habits. Take as much time as you need to build these practices into your life. Your new identity. As you build these habits, something profound will start to happen. You'll begin to see yourself differently. Instead of "I'm someone who overthinks everything," you might start thinking, "I'm someone who takes care of my mind." Instead of "I'm anxious and worried," you might think, "I'm someone who has tools to handle stress." Instead of "I can't control my thoughts," you might think, "I'm someone who chooses healthy habits every day." This new identity isn't fake or forced. It's based on real evidence, the evidence of your daily actions. Every day you stick to your habits, you prove to yourself who you really are. You are someone who follows through. You are someone who can change. You are someone with the strength to build a calmer, happier mind. This identity shift is incredibly powerful. When you truly believe you're someone who has good habits, maintaining those habits becomes natural. It's just who you are. The long view. Building strong habits is not a quick fix. It's not a magic cure that will eliminate all stress from your life. But it is something much better. It's a sustainable way to live. 5 years from now, where do you want to be? Do you want to still be caught in cycles of overthinking, feeling anxious and exhausted? Or do you want to be someone who faces life's challenges with a calm, clear mind? The choice you make today to start building one small habit is a choice about who you'll be in the future. Your habits are an investment in your future self. Every day you stick to your habits, you're making a deposit in the bank account of your well-being. Some investments pay off quickly. Habit investments pay off slowly but surely. The returns compound over time, creating a richer, more peaceful life than you might have thought possible. Your journey starts now. You now have everything you need to begin building habits that will calm your overthinking mind. You understand why habits work. You know which habits to focus on. You have strategies for overcoming obstacles. But knowledge alone doesn't create change. Action creates change. Your journey to a calmer mind starts with your very next choice. Will you choose to do one small thing that supports your mental health? Or will you let this moment pass like so many others? The person you want to become is waiting for you to take the first step. They're not waiting for you to be perfect or ready or motivated. They're just waiting for you to begin. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Start with one small habit. Your mind has been serving you faithfully your whole life. Now it's time to serve your mind with the daily practices. It needs to be healthy and strong. The habits you build today will shape the thoughts you think tomorrow. Choose habits that create the kind of thoughts you want to live with. Your calmer, clearer mind is not just a dream. It's a destination you can reach, one habit at a time. Chapter 7: Confidence Through Simplicity. The Weight of Too Much Thinking. Life doesn't have to be so hard. Yet here you are, making it harder than it needs to be. Every choice becomes a mountain. Every decision turns into a maze. You think more means better, but it doesn't. More thinking just means more confusion. Think about the last time you felt truly confident. Really confident. Not fake confidence or pretend confidence, but real, deep confidence. I bet it wasn't when you were drowning in analysis. I bet it wasn't when you had 17 different plans and backup plans for your backup plans. No, you felt confident when things were clear. When you knew what you wanted and what you had to do. When the path was simple and straight ahead. That's what this chapter is about. Finding that clarity again. Getting back to simple. Because simple isn't stupid. Simple is powerful. Why your brain loves complications. Your brain thinks it's helping you by making everything complicated. It thinks more options mean better choices. It thinks more analysis means better results. Your brain is wrong. Here's what really happens when you overthink. You start with one simple choice. Should I take this job or not? Should I say yes to this date? Should I move to this city? Simple questions with simple answers. But then your brain gets excited. It starts adding layers. What if the job doesn't work out? What if my boss doesn't like me? What if the company fails? What if I hate my coworkers? What if? Before you know it, you're not thinking about one simple choice anymore. You're trying to solve every possible problem that might maybe happen in some imaginary future. You're not making a decision about today. You're trying to control tomorrow, next week, next year, and the rest of your life all at once. That's not thinking. That's torture. Your brain thinks complexity equals intelligence. It thinks the person who considers the most possibilities is the smartest person in the room. But smart people know better. Smart people know that the best solutions are usually the simplest ones. The simple truth about confidence. Confidence isn't about having all the answers. Confidence is about being okay with not having all the answers. It's about trusting yourself to figure things out as you go. When you keep things simple, you give yourself room to be confident. You're not trying to predict every possible outcome. You're not trying to control every variable. You're just focusing on what matters right now, today. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't overthink it. They don't analyze the physics of balance or study the biomechanics of human movement. They just get up and try. They fall down, they get up again, they try again. Simple, confident, effective. Somewhere along the way, you learn to complicate things. You learn to question yourself before you even started. You learn to imagine all the ways things could go wrong before you gave yourself a chance to make them go right. But you can unlearn that. You can get back to simple. You can get back to confident. The power of simple goals. Complex goals create complex problems. Simple goals create simple solutions. Which do you want? Most people set goals that sound like this. I want to get in shape and build muscle and lose weight and eat healthy and have more energy and look better and feel better and be stronger and more flexible and stop. Just stop. That's not a goal. That's a wish list. That's a recipe for feeling overwhelmed before you even start. A simple goal sounds like this. I want to walk for 30 minutes every day. That's it. Not running, not weightlifting, not yoga, not meal prep, not counting calories. Just walking. Simple goals work because they're clear. You know exactly what success looks like. You either walked for 30 minutes or you didn't. No confusion. No debate. No complicated measuring system. Simple goals work because they're doable. 30 minutes of walking doesn't require special equipment or special skills or special knowledge. You just put one foot in front of the other. Simple goals work because they build momentum. When you succeed at something simple, you feel good. When you feel good, you want to do more. Success builds on success, but only if you can recognize success when it happens. Complex goals make it impossible to feel successful. There are too many moving parts. Too many ways to fall short. You might walk every day and eat better and sleep more, but if you don't lose weight fast enough, you feel like a failure. That's not fair to you, and it's not helpful. Start simple. Stay simple. Let simple goals build your confidence one day at a time. The art of simple choices. Every day, you make thousands of choices. Most of them don't matter as much as you think they do. But overthinking makes every choice feel life-changing. Should you wear the blue shirt or the red shirt? Should you take the highway or the back roads? Should you have coffee or tea? Should you respond to that text now or later? Here's the truth: most choices are reversible. Most choices don't change your life forever. Most choices matter less than the energy you spend making them. The art of simple choices is learning which choices deserve your mental energy and which ones don't. It's learning to make quick decisions about small things so you can save your thinking power for the big things. Try this. For the next week, give yourself 10 seconds to make any choice that doesn't involve safety, money, or relationships. 10 seconds. Blue shirt or red shirt? Count to 10 and choose. Highway or back roads? Count to 10 and choose. You'll discover something amazing. Your quick decisions are usually just as good as your slow decisions. Sometimes they're better because they come from instinct instead of anxiety. When you stop overthinking small choices, you free up mental space for the choices that actually matter. You stop exhausting yourself with decisions that don't deserve your best thinking. Trusting your first instinct. Your first instinct is usually right. Not always, but usually. Your first instinct comes from all your experience, all your knowledge, all your wisdom processed in an instant. It's your brain's way of giving you the best answer it has without all the second-guessing and self-doubt. But then something happens. You start to think about it more. You start to question yourself. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's a better answer. Sometimes there is. But most of the time, your first instinct was right all along. All that extra thinking just talked you out of the right answer. This happens in conversations all the time. Someone asks you a question, and you immediately know what you want to say. But then you start thinking about it. Is that too honest? Is that too harsh? Is that what they want to hear? Should I say something different? By the time you finally speak, your answer is confused and watered down. It doesn't sound like you anymore. It sounds like a committee trying to please everyone and ending up pleasing no one. Your first instinct is your voice. Your real voice. The voice that knows what you think and feel and want. Trust that voice. It's been with you longer than any of your doubts. The freedom of fewer options. More options don't make you freer. More options make you paralyzed. They make every choice harder and every outcome more questionable. Think about going to a restaurant with a huge menu. Hundreds of options. You spend 20 minutes reading through everything, comparing, reconsidering, second-guessing. You finally order something, but then you spend the whole meal wondering if you should have gotten something else. Now think about going to a restaurant with 3 options. All good options, but just 3. You choose quickly. You eat happily. You don't second-guess because there wasn't much to second-guess. This is true for everything in life. The more options you give yourself, the harder it becomes to feel confident about any choice. The fewer options you give yourself, the easier it becomes to choose and feel good about your choice. So limit your options on purpose. Don't look at every possible job posting. Pick 3 that seem good and focus on those. Don't consider every possible place to live. Pick the top few and go deeper instead of wider. This isn't about settling. This is about focusing your energy where it can do the most good. It's about making choices from strength instead of exhaustion. Simple communication. The best communication is simple communication. Clear, direct, honest. No fancy words, no complicated explanations, no trying to impress anyone. When you overcomplicate your communication, people get confused. When people get confused, they stop listening. When they stop listening, you lose connection. When you lose connection, you lose confidence. Simple communication sounds like this: I disagree with that plan. Not, well, I can see the merits of what you're proposing, and I certainly understand the logic behind it, but I have some concerns about certain aspects that I think we should probably discuss before moving forward. Just say what you mean. Say it clearly. Say it kindly, but say it directly. Simple communication works because it's honest. You're not hiding behind big words or complicated sentences. You're just being real with people. And when you're real with people, they can be real with you back. Simple communication works because it's confident. You're not hedging your bets or qualifying every statement. You know what you think, and you're willing to say it. Simple communication works because it creates connection. People understand you. They know where you stand. They can respond to what you actually said instead of trying to decode what you might have meant. The confidence of knowing less. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to have an opinion about everything. You don't have to understand everything. This is actually good news. Confident people are comfortable saying, "I don't know." They're comfortable admitting when something is outside their area of expertise. They're comfortable asking questions instead of pretending to have answers. Overthinking people think they need to know everything before they can act. They think they need to understand every detail before they can make a choice. They think they need to have answers for every possible question before they can speak up. This is impossible and exhausting. No one knows everything. No one understands everything. The smartest people in the world are constantly learning new things and changing their minds about old things. But here's what confident people do know. They know themselves. They know their values. They know what matters to them. They know what they're good at and what they're not good at. They know who they can trust and who they can't trust. That's enough. That's more than enough. When you know yourself, you can navigate almost any situation. You might not know all the answers, but you know how to find them. You might not understand everything, but you know how to learn. Simple systems for complex lives. Life is complex, but your approach to life doesn't have to be. You can create simple systems that handle complex situations automatically. A simple system is a set of rules you follow without thinking. Like always putting your keys in the same place so you never have to look for them. Like checking your calendar every morning so you never miss appointments. Like setting aside money every month so you always have savings. Simple systems work because they remove decisions from your daily life. You don't have to think about where to put your keys because you always put them in the same place. You don't have to remember to check your calendar because you do it automatically every morning. The more simple systems you create, the more mental space you have for things that actually require thinking. You're not wasting energy on routine decisions. You're saving your best thinking for situations that deserve it. Start small. Pick one area of your life that feels chaotic and create one simple system to handle it. Maybe it's how you handle email. Maybe it's how you plan your meals. Maybe it's how you prepare for your day. One simple system. Make it automatic. Then add another one when the first one feels natural. The beauty of good enough. Perfect is the enemy of done. Perfect is the enemy of progress. Perfect is the enemy of confidence. When you aim for perfect, you never finish anything. There's always one more thing to improve, one more detail to fix, one more possibility to consider. Perfect is a moving target that keeps moving further away the closer you get to it. Good enough is different. Good enough gets things done. Good enough creates results. Good enough builds momentum. This doesn't mean being lazy or careless. This means knowing when something is good enough to serve its purpose. A good enough decision that you make today is better than a perfect decision that you never make at all. Good enough gives you permission to act. Perfect keeps you stuck in analysis. Good enough builds confidence through action. Perfect destroys confidence through endless delay. The next time you catch yourself trying to make something perfect, ask yourself, what would good enough look like? What would happen if I stopped here? What would I lose and what would I gain? Most of the time, you'll discover that good enough is actually perfect for what you need. Simple self-care. Taking care of yourself doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a complicated morning routine with meditation and journaling and stretching and green smoothies and positive affirmations. Simple self-care is getting enough sleep, drinking water, moving your body, eating real food, spending time with people you like, doing things that make you feel good. That's it. Not revolutionary, but revolutionary in its simplicity. Complex self-care routines become another source of stress, another thing to overthink, another way to feel like you're not doing enough or being enough. Simple self-care becomes automatic. It becomes part of who you are instead of something you have to remember to do. Take care of the basics first. Sleep, water, food, movement, connection. When the basics are solid, everything else becomes easier. When the basics are complicated, everything else becomes harder. The confidence to start before you're ready. You'll never feel completely ready. If you wait until you're ready, you'll wait forever. Confident people start before they're ready because they trust themselves to figure it out as they go. This is the opposite of overthinking. Overthinking says you need to plan every step before you take the first one. Overthinking says you need to know the outcome before you begin. Overthinking says you need guarantees. Life doesn't offer guarantees. Life offers opportunities. Opportunities don't wait for you to feel ready. They don't wait for you to have all the answers. They don't wait for you to overcome all your fears. Opportunities wait for you to start. Starting before you're ready is how you get ready. Action teaches you things that thinking never can. Experience gives you confidence that planning never will. This doesn't mean being reckless. This means being willing to learn as you go. It means being willing to make mistakes and adjust. It means being willing to trust yourself more than you trust your fears. Simple decision-making. Good decision-making isn't about making perfect decisions. It's about making decisions quickly and adjusting as you go. Here's a simple decision-making process. Gather the essential information, consider your options, choose the best one available, act on it, and adjust if needed. That's it. Not gather all possible information, consider every possible option, analyze every possible outcome, create contingency plans for every possible scenario, get input from everyone who might have an opinion, second-guess yourself 17 times, and then maybe make a choice. The first approach builds confidence. You make decisions, you see results, you learn from results, you make better decisions next time. It's a cycle that improves with practice. The second approach destroys confidence. You spend so much energy on the decision that you're exhausted before you even act on it. You're so worried about making the wrong choice that you can't see when you make the right one. Good decisions come from good judgment. Good judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from making decisions and seeing what happens. You can't get experience by thinking about decisions. You can only get experience by making them. The power of single tasking. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. When you try to do multiple things at once, you're not multitasking. You're switching rapidly between tasks, and each switch costs you energy and focus. Single tasking is the practice of doing one thing at a time and giving it your full attention. It's simple, but it's not easy in a world that rewards busyness and celebrates multitasking. When you single task, you get things done faster and better. You make fewer mistakes. You feel less stressed. You enjoy what you're doing more. When you multitask, everything takes longer. You make more errors. You feel scattered and overwhelmed. You never feel like you're doing anything well. This is especially true for thinking tasks. When you try to solve multiple problems at once, you don't solve any of them well. When you focus on one problem at a time, you can bring all your intelligence and creativity to bear on it. Simple rule, one thing at a time. Finish one thing before starting another. Give your full attention to whatever you're doing right now. Simple relationships. The best relationships are built on simple foundations: honesty, respect, kindness, and trust. Not complicated games, not complex strategies, not trying to figure out what the other person wants to hear. Simple relationships mean saying what you mean and meaning what you say. They mean being yourself instead of trying to be who you think other people want you to be. This is terrifying for overthinkers. Overthinkers want to control how other people see them. They want to manage every interaction, predict every reaction, avoid every possible conflict. But relationships built on that much control aren't really relationships. They're performances. And performances are exhausting to maintain. Simple relationships are built on authenticity. You show up as yourself. You say what you think. You ask for what you need. You set boundaries when necessary. You let other people be themselves too. Some people won't like the real you. That's okay. The people who do like the real you will like you for the right reasons. Those are the relationships worth having. The simplicity of focus. Focus is not about doing more things. Focus is about doing fewer things better. It's about choosing what matters and ignoring what doesn't. When you try to focus on everything, you focus on nothing. When you try to be good at everything, you become great at nothing. When you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, including yourself. Focus requires saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It requires disappointing some people so you can delight others. It requires accepting that you can't have everything so you can fully enjoy what you choose. This is hard for overthinkers because overthinkers want to keep all their options open. They don't want to miss out on anything. They want to hedge their bets and cover all their bases. But spreading yourself thin doesn't reduce risk. It increases it. It increases the risk of doing nothing well. It increases the risk of living a scattered, unfocused life where nothing gets your best effort. Choose fewer things. Do them better. Be proud of what you accomplish instead of worried about what you're missing. Simple success. Success isn't complicated. It's simple, but it's not easy. Success is showing up consistently, doing good work, and getting a little better every day. That's it. Not revolutionary, but effective. Complex success strategies promise shortcuts and secrets and hidden formulas. They promise you can hack your way to success without doing the work. They promise you can think your way to results without taking action. Simple success is different. It's about doing the right things consistently over time. It's about building momentum through small, daily actions. It's about trusting the process even when you can't see immediate results. This requires patience. This requires faith. This requires the confidence to keep going when progress feels slow. But simple success compounds. Every day of good work builds on the day before. Every small improvement adds to the ones that came before it. Every consistent action moves you closer to where you want to be. Complex success strategies burn you out. Simple success strategies build you up. The confidence to be ordinary. You don't have to be extraordinary to be valuable. You don't have to be perfect to be worthwhile. You don't have to be special to be enough. Ordinary is underrated. Ordinary people do extraordinary things every day. They raise good kids. They do honest work. They help their neighbors. They show up for their friends. They try their best. Overthinking makes you believe that ordinary isn't enough. It makes you believe you have to be the smartest, the most successful, the most interesting, the most accomplished. It makes you believe you have to earn your place in the world. You don't have to earn your place in the world. You already have a place in the world. You belong here just because you're here. The confidence to be ordinary is the confidence to be yourself without apology. It's the confidence to do good work without needing it to be the best work anyone has ever done. It's the confidence to live your life without comparing it to everyone else's. Ordinary is peaceful. Ordinary is sustainable. Ordinary is enough. Living simply, thinking clearly. Simple living isn't about having fewer things. It's about having fewer complications. It's about creating space in your life for what matters by removing what doesn't. When your life is simple, your thinking becomes clear. When your thinking is clear, your confidence grows. When your confidence grows, your life becomes even simpler because you stop creating unnecessary problems for yourself. This is the cycle you want to be in. Simple choices leading to clear thinking, leading to confident action, leading to good results, leading to more simple choices. But first you have to break the other cycle. The cycle of overthinking leading to complicated choices, leading to confused action, leading to poor results, leading to even more overthinking. You break that cycle by starting simple. One simple goal. One simple choice. One simple action. One simple day. You don't have to change everything at once. You just have to start somewhere. Start simple. Start small. Start today. Your simple, confident future. Imagine a version of yourself that doesn't overthink every decision. A version of yourself that trusts their instincts, makes choices quickly, and moves forward with confidence. A version of yourself that keeps life simple and enjoys it more. That person isn't a fantasy. That person is a possibility. That person is who you become when you stop making everything so complicated. This version of yourself doesn't have all the answers, but they're comfortable with that. They don't predict every outcome, but they trust themselves to handle whatever happens. They don't try to control everything, but they take responsibility for their choices. This version of yourself lives more and worries less. They act more and analyze less. They enjoy more and regret less. The path to this version of yourself is simple. Not easy, but simple. Stop overcomplicating things. Trust your first instincts more. Make decisions faster. Focus on what matters. Let go of what doesn't. Start today. Start simple. Start with confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from having all the answers. Confidence comes from trusting yourself to figure things out as you go. And that trust grows stronger every time you choose simple over complicated, action over analysis, confidence over fear. Your future self is waiting. The simple, confident version of you who lives the life you want instead of thinking about the life you want. That person is closer than you think. One simple choice away. Make that choice. Keep making that choice. Watch your confidence grow with every simple step you take. The complicated version of your life ends when you decide it ends. The simple, confident version begins as soon as you're ready to begin. Are you ready? The choice is simple. Chapter 8, A Free Mind, a Free Life. A life without overthinking is light, powerful, and full of joy. This final chapter shows how to keep your mind free, so you can focus on growth, love, and success. The dawn of mental freedom. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning with a mind that feels like a clear blue sky. No clouds of worry. No storms of doubt. Just pure, open space where your thoughts can dance freely instead of getting tangled up in knots. This is what a free mind feels like. And today, right now, you're going to learn how to make this your everyday reality. You've spent too many years carrying the heavy weight of overthinking. Your mind has been like a computer with too many programs running at once, slowing everything down. But what if I told you that you have the power to close those unnecessary programs? What if you could run your life on a clean, fast system that responds to your commands instead of fighting against them? The truth is simple. You were not born to overthink. You were born to live boldly, love deeply, and create amazing things. Overthinking is not your natural state. It's just a habit you picked up along the way. And just like any habit, you can change it. Breaking free from mental chains. Think about a bird that has lived its whole life in a cage. Even when you open the door, it might stay inside because that's all it knows. Your mind might be doing the same thing right now. The door to freedom is wide open, but you're still sitting in a cage of overthinking because it feels familiar. But here's the beautiful truth. The moment you realize the door is open, everything changes. You don't have to stay trapped by thoughts that spin in circles and go nowhere. You don't have to analyze every word someone said to you. You don't have to replay past mistakes over and over like a broken record. Freedom starts with a single decision. The decision to say no to thoughts that don't serve you. When your mind starts to overthink, you can simply notice it and choose a different path. You can choose to focus on what's real and important right now. This isn't about never thinking deeply about important things. This is about stopping the useless mental chatter that keeps you stuck. There's a big difference between helpful thinking and harmful overthinking. Helpful thinking moves you forward. Overthinking keeps you spinning in place. The power of present moment living. Right now, in this exact moment, you are perfectly safe. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are breathing. You are alive and capable of amazing things. But overthinking pulls you away from this truth. It drags you into imaginary futures that may never happen or painful memories that are already over. Living in the present moment is like stepping into a stream of pure energy. Everything flows naturally. You respond to life instead of fighting with it. You make decisions from a place of clarity instead of confusion. You see opportunities that were always there, but hidden behind the fog of overthinking. When you're fully present, you become magnetic. People are drawn to your calm confidence. Opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. Solutions to problems become obvious. This isn't magic. It's what happens when you stop blocking your natural flow with mental noise. The present moment is where all your power lives. In the past, you have no power. What's done is done. In the future, you have no power. It hasn't happened yet. But right here, right now, you have all the power in the world to choose your thoughts, actions, and responses. Embracing the light mind. A light mind is like a feather in the wind. It moves gracefully and easily. It doesn't fight against life's changes. It doesn't resist new experiences. It flows with whatever comes, confident that it can handle anything. When your mind is light, problems don't feel like mountains anymore. They feel like puzzles you can solve. Challenges become adventures. Setbacks become learning experiences. You stop taking everything so seriously because you understand that most things work out fine in the end. This lightness isn't about being careless or irresponsible. It's about approaching life with joy instead of fear. It's about trusting yourself to handle whatever comes your way. It's about remembering that you are stronger and more capable than your worried thoughts want you to believe. A light mind sees possibilities where a heavy mind sees problems. It sees growth opportunities where a worried mind sees threats. It sees the humor in situations where an anxious mind sees only danger. This shift in perspective changes everything. The journey to joy. Joy is your natural birthright. You came into this world curious, playful, and full of wonder. Somewhere along the way, you might have learned to worry more and trust less. But that joyful person is still inside you, waiting to come out and play again. Overthinking is joy's biggest enemy. It convinces you that happiness must be earned, that you need to solve all your problems before you can feel good, that life is too serious for lightness and laughter. But this is all wrong. Joy comes from within. It doesn't depend on your circumstances being perfect. It doesn't require you to have all the answers. It only requires you to be present and open to the beauty that's already all around you. When you stop overthinking, you start noticing the small miracles that happen every day. The way sunlight dances through your window. The sound of laughter from people you love. The feeling of accomplishment when you finish something meaningful. These moments of joy were always there, but overthinking made them invisible. Building unshakable confidence. Confidence isn't about thinking you're better than everyone else. True confidence comes from knowing you can trust yourself to handle life's ups and downs. It comes from believing in your ability to learn, grow, and adapt to whatever comes your way. Overthinking destroys confidence by making you question every decision, doubt every instinct, and fear every possible outcome. But when you free your mind from this mental prison, your natural confidence shines through. You start to trust your first instincts again. You make decisions more quickly and easily. You stop second-guessing yourself all the time. You realize that most decisions aren't as permanent or important as your worried mind made them seem. This confidence is magnetic. People notice when someone is comfortable in their own skin. They're drawn to people who seem calm and sure of themselves. Opportunities open up. Relationships improve. Life becomes more fun and less stressful. Remember, confidence isn't something you have to build from scratch. It's something you already have inside you. Overthinking just covers it up. When you clear away the mental clutter, your natural confidence emerges like the sun coming out from behind the clouds. Chapter 9. Stop seeking perfection. The prison of perfect. You know that feeling, don't you? That voice in your head that whispers, "This isn't good enough yet." The one that makes you rewrite that email 5 times or keeps you from starting that project because you can't see the perfect outcome. That voice has been holding you back, and today we're going to silence it forever. Perfection is a beautiful lie. It promises us that if we just try harder, work longer, and polish everything until it shines, we'll finally be happy. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Perfection is not just impossible. It's dangerous. It's the thief that steals your progress, your joy, and your peace of mind. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly satisfied with something you called perfect? Even when you think you've achieved it, there's always something more you could have done. Always another tiny flaw you notice. Always a reason why it still isn't quite right. This is because perfection isn't a destination. It's a moving target that stays forever out of reach. And while you're chasing it, life is happening. Opportunities are passing you by. Real progress is being sacrificed for imaginary ideals. Why your brain craves perfect. Your brain didn't evolve to make you happy. It evolved to keep you alive. And one way it does this is by making you notice what's wrong, what's dangerous, what's not quite right. This served our ancestors well when they needed to spot predators or avoid poisonous plants. But in today's world, this same system makes you focus on every tiny flaw instead of celebrating your achievements. When you overthink about making something perfect, your brain is trying to protect you from criticism, rejection, or failure. It believes that if you can just make everything flawless, you'll be safe from judgment. But this protective mechanism has become a trap. The perfectionist mindset tells you that mistakes are failures. That good enough means you're lazy or don't care. That other people will judge you harshly if everything isn't exactly right. But these beliefs are not just wrong. They're keeping you stuck. Here's what perfectionism really is. It's fear wearing a disguise. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of being criticized. Fear of being found out as someone who doesn't have it all together. And when fear drives your decisions, you stop taking the actions that actually move you forward. The power of good enough. Good enough isn't giving up, it's giving yourself permission to live. It's recognizing that done is better than perfect. It's understanding that a good decision made quickly is often better than a perfect decision made too late. Let me tell you about Sarah, a writer who spent 3 years perfecting the first chapter of her novel. 3 years. She rewrote it dozens of times, changed every word, restructured every sentence. And you know what happened? She never wrote chapter 2. Her pursuit of the perfect beginning prevented her from ever reaching the middle, let alone the end. Compare that to Mark, who decided to embrace good enough. He wrote his first draft knowing it was flawed. Then he wrote his second draft, still imperfect. By the time Sarah was still polishing her first chapter, Mark had completed 3 novels and was getting published. The difference? Mark understood that you can't edit a blank page. That progress, even imperfect progress, is infinitely more valuable than perfect inaction. Good enough doesn't mean sloppy or careless. It means recognizing when something serves its purpose, when it meets the real requirements, when it's ready to go out into the world. It means understanding the difference between important details and meaningless perfection. Progress beats perfection every time. Here's a revolutionary idea. What if the goal isn't to be perfect, but to be better than you were yesterday? What if success isn't about flawless execution, but about consistent improvement? Progress is messy. It's full of mistakes, false starts, and do-overs. But it's also real. It's tangible. It builds on itself in ways that perfectionism never can. When you focus on progress instead of perfection, something magical happens. You start moving. You start learning. You start getting feedback from the real world instead of the imaginary audience in your head. And with each step forward, even the imperfect ones, you get closer to where you want to be. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't wait until they can do it perfectly. They stumble, fall, get back up, and try again. Each wobbly step is progress. Each fall teaches them something new. If they waited until they could walk perfectly, they'd never take their first step. The same principle applies to everything in your life. Your first presentation doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be given. Your first business idea doesn't need to be flawless. It needs to be tested. Your first attempt at anything doesn't need to be your best. It needs to be your beginning. The 80-20 rule of life. There's a principle in business called the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. It says that 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. But here's how it applies to perfectionism. The first 80% of any task usually takes 20% of the time, while the last 20% takes 80% of the time. That final 20%, the polishing, the perfecting, the endless tweaking, that's where perfectionism lives. And most of the time, that extra effort adds very little real value. The person reading your email won't notice if you spent 5 minutes writing it or 50. The client won't care if your presentation has the perfect font or just a good one. But here's what they will notice: whether you delivered on time, whether you solved their problem, whether you showed up and did the work. The value is in the 80%, not the final 20%. This doesn't mean you should be careless or do sloppy work. It means learning to recognize when something is good enough to achieve its purpose. It means understanding that excellence and perfection are not the same thing. Excellence is doing your best work within reasonable time and resource constraints. Perfection is an endless pursuit that prevents you from ever being done. Excellence gets results. Perfection gets in the way of results. Breaking free from the perfection trap. So, how do you escape the perfection trap? How do you retrain your brain to embrace good enough and celebrate progress? First, you need to change your relationship with mistakes. Instead of seeing them as failures, start seeing them as information. Every mistake teaches you something. Every imperfection shows you what to improve next time. When you remove the shame from mistakes, you remove the need for perfection. Second, set good enough standards in advance. Before you start any project, decide what success looks like. What are the real requirements? What would make this valuable? What's the minimum viable version? Having clear standards helps you recognize when you've reached them. Third, practice the art of shipping. That's what successful people call it, shipping. It means putting your work out into the world, even when it's not perfect. Send the email. Submit the proposal. Publish the blog post. Launch the product. The world needs your contribution more than it needs your perfection. Fourth, celebrate small wins. Every time you choose progress over perfection, acknowledge it. Every time you ship something good enough, pat yourself on the back. You're rewiring your brain to value action over endless analysis. The myth of other people's perfection. One of the biggest lies perfectionism tells you is that everyone else has it figured out, that their work is flawless, their lives are perfect, their success came easily. Social media makes this worse, showing you only the highlight reels of other people's lives. But here's the truth, nobody's first draft is perfect. Nobody's journey is smooth. Every successful person you admire got there through imperfect action, not perfect planning. They have failures you never see, struggles they don't share, and moments of doubt just like you. The difference between successful people and stuck people isn't that successful people do everything perfectly. It's that they do things imperfectly and keep going anyway. They understand that done is better than perfect, and that good enough today beats perfect someday. Steve Jobs, known for his attention to detail, once said, "If you're not embarrassed by your first version, you launched too late." Even he understood that perfection is the enemy of progress. Your perfectionism isn't helping others. Here's something perfectionism doesn't want you to know. You need to be perfect isn't just hurting you. It's hurting the people who need what you have to offer. There's someone out there who needs to read the blog post you haven't published because it's not perfect yet. Someone who could benefit from the business idea you haven't launched because you're still refining it. Someone who needs the help you could provide if you just start with what you have instead of waiting for what you think you need. When you hold back your gifts because they're not perfect, you're not being humble or conscientious. You're being selfish. You're prioritizing your comfort over their needs. You're choosing your fear over their benefit. The world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs more people willing to show up imperfectly and do the work. It needs people who choose courage over comfort, progress over perfection, action over endless preparation. The freedom of good enough. Imagine what your life would look like if you weren't trapped by perfectionism. Imagine the projects you'd finish, the opportunities you'd take, the peace you'd feel. Imagine going to bed each night satisfied with the progress you made instead of stressed about what wasn't perfect. This freedom is available to you right now. Not when you figure out how to be perfect, but when you decide that good enough is actually pretty great. Good enough means you can start before you're ready. You can take imperfect action. You can learn by doing instead of thinking. You can improve through iteration instead of waiting for inspiration. Good enough means you can fail fast and fail cheap, learning what works and what doesn't through real experience instead of endless analysis. You can get feedback from real people instead of imaginary critics. Good enough means you can have a life outside of work, relationships that aren't postponed until everything else is perfect, and hobbies you enjoy without needing to master them. Building your progress mindset. Developing a progress mindset instead of a perfection mindset is a skill you can learn. Like any skill, it takes practice, but every small step makes the next one easier. Start by redefining success. Instead of measuring yourself against impossible standards, measure yourself against yesterday's version of you. Did you do something today that moves you forward? Did you learn something new? Did you try something even if it didn't work perfectly? Then you succeeded. Create systems for progress, not just goals for perfection. A system is something you do regularly that moves you forward. Writing for 30 minutes every day is a system. Going to the gym 3 times a week is a system. Making one sales call every morning is a system. Systems create progress regardless of perfect outcomes. Embrace the concept of prototypes. A prototype isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to test an idea quickly and cheaply. Make prototypes of your ideas, your projects, your plans. Launch them, get feedback, improve them. This is how real innovation happens. The compound effect of imperfect action. Here's something beautiful about choosing progress over perfection. Imperfect action compounds over time. Each imperfect step you take builds on the last one. Each good enough project teaches you something for the next one. Each time you choose done over perfect, you get stronger and more confident. A blog post that's good enough published today is infinitely more valuable than a perfect post never written. A business launched with flaws teaches you more than a business plan that never gets implemented. A conversation that's a little awkward is better than a relationship that never begins because you're waiting for the perfect words. This is how people build careers, create art, start companies, and change lives, not through perfect execution, but through consistent, imperfect action. Each step doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be forward. Your new relationship with perfect. This doesn't mean you should never aim high or care about quality. Excellence is still valuable. Craftsmanship still matters. The goal isn't to do sloppy work. It's to recognize when good work becomes good enough. Think of perfection as a direction, not a destination. You can always move toward better without needing to reach perfect. You can always improve without needing to be flawless. You can always grow without needing to start from a place of perfection. When perfectionism whispers in your ear, thank it for trying to protect you, then choose progress anyway. When the voice says, "This isn't good enough yet," respond with, "It's good enough to start," or "It's good enough to learn from," or "It's good enough to help someone." Taking action today. Right now, there's something in your life that you've been putting off because it's not perfect yet. A project you haven't finished. A conversation you haven't had. A dream you haven't pursued. An idea you haven't shared. What would happen if you approached it with a progress mindset instead of a perfection mindset? What would happen if you aimed for good enough instead of flawless? What would happen if you took one imperfect action today? The answer is simple. You'd be further along tomorrow than you are today. And that's all progress really is, being a little further along than you were before. You don't need permission to be imperfect. You don't need to wait until you have it all figured out. You don't need to be ready. You just need to begin. The perfect moment isn't coming. The perfect plan doesn't exist. The perfect version of you is a myth. But the good enough version of you, the one willing to try, to fail, to learn, to grow, that version can change everything. So stop seeking perfection. Start embracing progress. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Start creating with what you have. Stop overthinking every detail. Start taking imperfect action. Your future self will thank you for choosing progress over perfection. Your dreams will thank you for taking imperfect action instead of perfect inaction. And the world will thank you for sharing your gifts, flaws, and all. The time for perfect is never. The time for good enough is now. The time for progress is today. What are you waiting for? Your imperfect, beautiful, progress-making life is calling. Answer it. Chapter 10. Trust your decisions. Doubting every choice creates stress. Learn how to decide faster, trust yourself, and move forward without looking back. The weight of doubt. Every morning you wake up and face choices. What to wear. What to eat. Which route to take to work. Simple decisions that somehow feel heavy when doubt creeps in. You second-guess yourself before you even get out of bed. This is the burden of overthinking every decision you make. When you doubt every choice, you're not just questioning your decisions. You're questioning yourself, your judgment, your ability to handle life. This constant self-doubt creates a cycle of stress that follows you everywhere. It turns simple choices into complicated puzzles. It makes easy decisions feel impossible. Think about the last time you spent 20 minutes deciding what to order at a restaurant, or when you changed your outfit 3 times before leaving the house. These moments reveal how much energy we waste when we don't trust our own judgment. The stress builds up. The confidence breaks down. Life becomes harder than it needs to be. But here's what you need to know. You make good decisions every single day. You've been making decisions your entire life, and most of them turned out just fine. The problem isn't your decision-making ability. The problem is that you've forgotten how to trust it. The truth about perfect decisions. Let me tell you something that will change how you think about choices. There is no such thing as a perfect decision. This might sound scary at first, but it's actually the most freeing truth you can accept. When you stop looking for the perfect choice, you can start making good choices. Every decision comes with trade-offs. Every path you choose means leaving other paths behind. This is not a flaw in your decision-making process. This is simply how life works. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can make peace with your choices. The people you admire, the ones who seem so confident in their decisions, aren't making perfect choices either. They've just learned to trust that they can handle whatever comes from their decisions. They understand that making a good decision quickly is better than making a perfect decision too late. When you chase perfection in your choices, you end up paralyzed. You research endlessly. You ask for advice from everyone you know. You make lists of pros and cons that go on forever. Meanwhile, life keeps moving forward, and opportunities pass you by while you're still deciding. The goal isn't to make perfect decisions. The goal is to make decisions you can live with and learn from. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, decision-making becomes much easier. Your inner wisdom knows more than you think. Deep inside you, there's a voice that knows what you need. It's quiet, so you might not always hear it over the noise of overthinking. But it's there, and it's been guiding you longer than you realize. This is your inner wisdom, and it deserves your trust. Your inner wisdom is built from all your experiences. Every mistake you've learned from. Every success you've achieved. Every challenge you've overcome. It's not just guesswork or random feelings. It's the accumulated knowledge of your life, processed and ready to guide you. When you first think about a decision, what's your immediate reaction? Before you start analyzing and researching and asking for opinions, what does your gut tell you? That first instinct is often your inner wisdom speaking. It's worth listening to. This doesn't mean you should never think through your decisions, but it means you should give weight to that initial feeling. Your subconscious mind processes information faster than your conscious mind. It can see patterns and connections that logical analysis might miss. Start paying attention to these first impressions. When someone asks you a question, what's the answer that pops into your head before you start overthinking it? When you're faced with a choice, what option feels right before you start listing reasons why it might be wrong? Your inner wisdom isn't perfect, but it's yours. It knows your values, your goals, and your circumstances better than any advice from others. Learning to trust it is one of the most important skills you can develop. The cost of constant hesitation. Every time you hesitate on a decision, you pay a price. The cost isn't always obvious, but it's always there. Sometimes it's the opportunity that passes while you're still deciding. Sometimes it's the stress that builds up as you go in circles. Sometimes it's the confidence that erodes a little more each time you doubt yourself. Hesitation creates a habit of uncertainty. The more you practice doubting your decisions, the better you get at it. Your brain learns that every choice is something to worry about. Simple decisions become complicated. Clear paths become confusing. You train yourself to see problems where none exist. This hesitation also affects how others see you. People notice when someone can't make up their mind. It doesn't inspire confidence in your abilities. It doesn't make others want to follow your lead or trust your judgment. Indecision has a cost in your relationships and your career. But the biggest cost is what it does to your self-image. Every time you doubt a decision, you send yourself a message: I can't be trusted to make good choices. Over time, this becomes a belief. You start to see yourself as someone who doesn't have good judgment. This belief then makes future decisions even harder. The good news is that confidence works the same way. Every time you make a decision and move forward with it, you build trust in yourself. Every time you act on your judgment, you prove to yourself that you can handle the consequences. Confidence in decision-making is a skill you can develop. The power of decisive action. There's something magical that happens when you make a decision and commit to it. The energy that was stuck in hesitation gets released into action. Your mind stops spinning in circles and starts moving forward. Problems that seemed impossible to solve suddenly become manageable. Decisive action creates momentum. When you make a choice and start moving, other pieces fall into place. Opportunities appear. Resources become available. People show up to help. None of this happens while you're still deciding. It only happens when you're moving. This doesn't mean rushing into decisions without any thought. It means giving decisions the right amount of attention and then moving forward. For most choices in your life, 30 minutes of thinking is enough. For big decisions, maybe a day or a week. But not months. Not years. The act of deciding itself is powerful. It takes you from being passive to being active. From wondering what might happen to making things happen. From hoping for the best outcome to working toward it. When you practice decisive action, you also practice trust in your ability to handle whatever comes. You prove to yourself that you can adapt, adjust, and overcome challenges. This builds the confidence that makes future decisions easier. Remember that making a decision doesn't lock you into it forever. Most choices can be changed if needed. But you can only learn whether a decision is working by actually trying it. Action gives you information that thinking never can. Building your decision-making confidence. Confidence in decision-making isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you build through practice. Every decision you make with confidence makes the next one easier. Every time you trust your judgment and move forward, you strengthen that muscle. Start with small decisions. Practice making quick choices about everyday things. What to have for lunch? Which movie to watch? What to do this weekend? Don't spend more than a few minutes on these choices. Make them and move on. This builds your comfort with deciding quickly. Pay attention to how your decisions turn out. Most of the time, they work out fine. Even when they don't turn out perfectly, you handle it. You adapt. You learn. You survive. This is proof that you can trust your decision-making ability. Stop asking for so many opinions. Other people's advice can be helpful, but too much input makes decisions harder, not easier. Everyone has different values and priorities. What's right for them might not be right for you. Your decision needs to fit your life, not theirs. Learn to distinguish between big decisions and small ones. Most decisions in your life are smaller than they seem. They won't ruin your life if they don't work out perfectly. They won't determine your entire future. Recognizing this takes the pressure off and makes choosing easier. Practice saying this is good enough instead of this is perfect. Good enough decisions made quickly are better than perfect decisions that never get made. Progress beats perfection every time. The art of moving forward. Once you've made a decision, the next step is crucial. Commit to it. This means putting your energy into making it work instead of continuing to question whether it was right. It means acting like you believe in your choice, even if you have some doubts. Commitment doesn't mean blindness. You can still pay attention to how things are going and make adjustments if needed. But it means giving your decision a real chance to work. It means not sabotaging your own choice with constant second-guessing. When you move forward with commitment, you discover something powerful. Most decisions can be made to work. Your energy and effort matter more than having the theoretically perfect choice. A good decision that you fully commit to will usually work better than a perfect decision that you half-heartedly pursue. Moving forward also means accepting that you might be wrong sometimes. This isn't failure. It's learning. Every decision teaches you something about yourself, your values, and what works in your life. Even the decisions that don't turn out as planned give you valuable information for future choices. Stop looking over your shoulder at the path you didn't take. You can't walk in two directions at once. The path you chose is the only one that can lead you anywhere. Put your attention on where you're going, not where you could have gone. Dealing with decision regret. Sometimes you'll make a decision and later wish you had chosen differently. This is normal. Everyone experiences decision regret. The key is not letting it paralyze you or make you afraid of future decisions. When regret shows up, remember that you made the best decision you could with the information you had at the time. You can't judge past decisions with present knowledge. That's not fair to yourself, and it's not helpful. Use regret as information, not punishment. What can you learn from this experience? What would you do differently next time? How can this help you make better decisions in the future? Extract the lesson and then let the regret go. Remember that every path has its challenges. The choice you didn't make would have had its own problems and difficulties. You're seeing the problems of your chosen path clearly because you're living them. You're imagining the other path without problems because you're not living it. Focus on what you can control now. You can't change decisions you've already made, but you can influence what happens next. Put your energy into making the best of your current situation instead of dwelling on alternatives you can't access. The freedom of imperfect choices. Here's a liberating truth. You don't have to make the best possible decision every time. You just have to make a decision you can work with. This takes enormous pressure off your choices and makes decision-making much more manageable. When you accept that your decisions don't have to be perfect, you free yourself from analysis paralysis. You can gather enough information to make an informed choice without researching every possible angle. You can consider the main factors without obsessing over every detail. Imperfect decisions that lead to action are better than perfect decisions that never happen. The world is full of people who had great ideas and perfect plans but never moved forward because they were still perfecting their approach. Don't be one of those people. Your life isn't determined by any single decision anyway. It's shaped by the pattern of your choices over time. One imperfect decision won't derail your entire future, but a pattern of not deciding definitely will. Embrace the messiness of real life. Perfect information is rare. Perfect timing doesn't exist. Perfect choices are impossible. But good enough decisions made consistently will take you where you want to go. Trusting the process. Decision-making is a process, not an event. It starts with recognizing that a choice needs to be made. It continues with gathering relevant information. It moves through considering your options. It culminates in choosing a direction and committing to it. Trust this process instead of trying to shortcut to certainty. You don't need to know that your decision is absolutely right before you make it. You just need to know that it's reasonable given what you know right now. The process includes making mistakes and learning from them. It includes adjusting course when new information comes to light. It includes building confidence through experience. All of this is normal and healthy. Some decisions will turn out better than others. Some will lead to unexpected opportunities. Some will teach you lessons you didn't want to learn. All of them will contribute to your growth and your ability to handle whatever comes next. Stop trying to control outcomes you can't control. You can control your decision-making process, your effort, and your response to results. Focus your energy on what's actually within your power to influence. Your future self will thank you. Every time you make a decision with confidence and move forward without looking back, you're doing a favor for your future self. You're solving problems instead of postponing them. You're creating progress instead of staying stuck. You're building a life instead of just thinking about one. Your future self will also thank you for the mistakes you make along the way. Each decision that doesn't work out perfectly teaches you something valuable. These lessons will help you make better choices down the road. You can't learn to make good decisions without making some imperfect ones first. The confidence you build through trusting your decisions compounds over time. Each act of self-trust makes the next one easier. Each decision you make and own makes you stronger. This isn't just about making better choices. It's about becoming someone who can handle whatever life brings. Years from now, you won't remember most of the decisions you spent hours agonizing over. But you will remember the feeling of being someone who could make choices and move forward with confidence. You'll remember being someone who trusted their own judgment and wasn't afraid to act on it. Starting today, you don't need to wait until you feel completely confident to start trusting your decisions. Confidence comes from practice, not the other way around. Start making decisions with the confidence you have right now and watch it grow. Begin with the small choices in your life. Practice making them quickly and moving on. Notice how most of them turn out fine, even when they're not perfect. Use this as evidence that you can trust your judgment more than you currently do. Stop asking for so many opinions about personal decisions. Your life is unique to you. Your values, goals, and circumstances are different from everyone else's. The decision that's right for your life is the one you need to make, not the one someone else would make. Set a deadline for decisions and stick to it. Give yourself enough time to consider the important factors, but not so much time that you spiral into overthinking. When the deadline arrives, make your choice and move forward. Remember that making a decision is better than making no decision in most cases. Even if your choice isn't perfect, at least you're moving. Movement creates opportunities for course correction. Standing still creates nothing. The life you're building. Every decision you make is a building block in the life you're creating. When you trust your decisions and move forward with confidence, you build a life of action and progress. When you doubt every choice and hesitate at every turn, you build a life of stagnation and regret. The person you become is shaped by how you handle decisions. Do you want to be someone who is paralyzed by choices? Someone who needs constant reassurance from others? Someone who is always looking backward and wondering, what if? Or do you want to be someone who can assess a situation, make a reasonable choice, and move forward with confidence? Someone who learns from both successes and mistakes? Someone who is comfortable with uncertainty because they trust their ability to handle whatever comes? You get to choose which person you become. This choice is made one decision at a time. Each time you trust your judgment and act on it, you become a little more the confident person you want to be. Your decision-making toolkit. Here are the tools you need to make decisions with confidence and trust yourself in the process. The 10-minute rule. For small daily decisions, give yourself no more than 10 minutes to choose. Set a timer if you need to. When it goes off, make your decision and move on. The gut check. Before you start analyzing a decision to death, ask yourself what your first instinct says. This is often your inner wisdom speaking before your overthinking mind takes over. The good enough standard. Ask yourself if this decision is good enough to move forward with, not whether it's the absolute best possible choice. Good enough decisions made quickly beat perfect decisions made never. The learning frame. Approach decisions as experiments rather than permanent commitments. You're testing something to see how it works, not locking yourself into it forever. The energy test. Pay attention to how different options make you feel. The choice that energizes you is often the right one, even if you can't logically explain why. The values check. When you're torn between options, consider which choice aligns better with your core values. This can cut through confusion and point you toward the right direction. The regret minimization. Ask yourself which choice you're more likely to regret not trying. Often this points you toward the bolder, more growth-oriented option. Breaking the overthinking cycle. Overthinking decisions is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. The first step is recognizing when you're doing it. Notice when you've been thinking about the same decision for days or weeks without making progress. When you catch yourself overthinking, ask, what additional information do I actually need to make this decision? Often, you already have enough information. You're just afraid to act on it. Set boundaries around decision-making time. Research shows that we make worse decisions when we overthink them, not better ones. Give yourself a reasonable amount of time to consider your options, then choose. Remember that most decisions are reversible or adjustable. Very few choices will completely determine the rest of your life. This knowledge can help you relax and make decisions with less pressure. Practice making decisions alone before consulting others. Get comfortable with your own judgment before you invite other opinions into the mix. This helps you stay connected to your own wisdom. The ripple effects of confident decisions. When you start making decisions with confidence and moving forward without looking back, the effects ripple through every area of your life. You become more productive because you spend less time stuck in analysis. You become more respected because people see someone who can make up their mind and stick with it. Your relationships improve because you're not constantly seeking reassurance or approval for your choices. You become someone others can count on to make decisions when decisions need to be made. Your stress levels drop dramatically. The anxiety that comes from constant second-guessing disappears. You replace the mental exhaustion of overthinking with the energizing feeling of forward movement. You discover that you're more capable than you thought. As you make decisions and handle the results, you prove to yourself that you can deal with whatever comes your way. This builds a deep confidence that goes far beyond just making choices. Embracing your decision-making power. The ability to make decisions is one of your greatest powers as a human being. It's what allows you to shape your life according to your values and desires. When you doubt this ability, you give away this power. Every time you make a decision and own it, you reclaim this power. You declare that you are the author of your own life. You refuse to let fear or perfectionism keep you stuck. This doesn't mean being reckless or impulsive. It means being thoughtful but decisive. It means gathering reasonable information and then acting on it. It means trusting yourself to handle whatever comes from your choices. Your decision-making ability is already better than you think it is. You've been making decisions your whole life. You've survived every single one of them, even the ones that didn't turn out as planned. This is proof that you can trust yourself. The path forward. Starting today, you can begin to trust your decisions more fully. You can stop second-guessing every choice and start moving forward with confidence. You can replace the stress of constant doubt with the energy of decisive action. This isn't about becoming perfect at making decisions. It's about becoming comfortable with your imperfect human ability to choose a direction and see where it leads. It's about trusting yourself to adapt, learn, and overcome whatever challenges arise from your choices. The life you want is on the other side of the decisions you're afraid to make. Every day you spend stuck in analysis is a day you're not building that life. Every choice you make with confidence is a step toward becoming who you're meant to be. You have everything you need to make good decisions. You have intelligence, experience, values, and intuition. You have the ability to learn from mistakes and adjust course when needed. You have survived every decision you've ever made, which proves you can handle whatever comes next. The time for doubt is over. The time for trust is now. Trust your judgment. Trust your ability to handle consequences. Trust that you can learn and adapt and overcome. Trust that making an imperfect decision is better than making no decision at all. Your future self is waiting for you to start making choices with confidence and moving forward without looking back. Every decision you make with trust in yourself is a gift to the person you're becoming. Every act of self-trust builds the confidence that will carry you through all the decisions yet to come. Stop overthinking. Start trusting. Your life is waiting for you to choose it.